Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2016 Chevy SS. Up front is a 6.2 liter V8 and down below is a 6-speed manual transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this here SS because it has that manual transmission. I've reviewed a Chevy SS on the channel before, actually specifically a 2017. However, that video was a long time ago and that car was automatic, and all the comments I got on that video were, you gotta try the manual, you gotta try the manual. And so today I'm trying the manual. But before we get on to anything else, I have a website, zackpradle.com, where you can buy stickers and other merchandise when it becomes available. You could also submit your own vehicle to be reviewed by me through a quick and easy submission form, and you get a video of your car just like this one. And you could read my behind the scenes blog to see what I'm filming before it comes out on the channel. But let's get back to that 6.2 liter V8 under the hood. Well, it's nothing new for Chevy to use this kind of engine. We also see this engine used in like the Escalade and truck applications, car applications, the Camaro. And you see it in so many applications because it works, and it works so dang well. In this car, it makes 415 horsepower, which is an absolute treat when you're driving it. And actually, it's a really good car to learn manual on because it has so much torque that if you just kind of dump the clutch, it's just gonna go. It's not going to stall out as easy as a 4-cylinder car, and I really love that in the driving experience. The V8 kind of fills in the gaps that my talent leaves. Now, of course, there are tons of ways that you can modify the 6.2 liter as well. People supercharge these engines, people have turbocharged these engines. There's tons and tons of aftermarket available, and I really like that. It's cold, so the tires are struggling and screaming, but it makes just this lovely amount of power. Simply lovely. Now, like I said, paired to it is that 6-speed manual transmission. It is a Tremec TR6060, and according to the owner and his research, between 1,000 and 1,500 of them were manual. Of the 12,000 SSs that were sent here to the States, only about 1,000 of them were manual. And so we'll get into color options that make this car even more rare, but just having the manual transmission is a rare option. Now, this car does have a very simple modification done to it that I love, and that is the deletion of skip shift. A lot of Chevy products that are manual will have a feature called skip shift, which will force you at slow speeds to go from first gear into fourth gear in order to save fuel. Now, in theory, this is good and it works, but it can be really annoying. And so a previous owner of this car actually deleted that, and that is hands down one of the first modifications you should do with the manual transmission. It feels nice and simple going into gear. It really feels like a Camaro. So if you've driven a Camaro or other vehicles like that, a little bit heavier of a clutch than what you would find in a Japanese or German car, but that's sort of the American way, and I like to see that. Last but not least, of course, the SS is rear-wheel drive. And so what does it feel like to drive a manual SS? Well, it honestly drives a lot like a Camaro, but it's a lot more practical, and this is just a lot better of a car. It feels a lot more refined. The only downside is that you do feel just a little bit long. The chassis of the car does feel a little long. However, definitely not complaining for the caliber of car, and you definitely won't hear me complaining about the back seats, which we'll get to in a second. So with that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have two main gauge pods and a screen. Off to the left is my tachometer and coolant temperature. In the center, I do get a customizable digital screen. I'll show a couple different things here. You'll also see your drive mode change. So there's a couple different drive modes you can cycle through, which I like. However, I wish that there was a little bit more fanfare, a little bit something extra when you switch drive modes, but that's okay. And off to the right, I have my speedometer and fuel. On the steering wheel on the left, I do have my cruise control options as well as my lane keep assist, pre-collision warning, all of those goodies. And then off to the right, I have my phone options, source options, and volume. The overall look and feel of the steering wheel is pretty nice. It does have this perforated leather, gives it a little bit sportier of a feel than, say, a Malibu or something of the same era. So I like that. I'm just not over the moon about it. Off to the left, I have my headlight switches, gauge dimmer switches, and my page button. This is for my heads-up display. So up above the gauge cluster, I have a heads-up display. Very, very nice for keeping your eyes on the road, but also monitoring what the car is doing. Moving on to the door, I have my lock and unlock, power mirrors, power windows, and 2 different memory seat options, which is very, very nice. Love to see that. Moving into the center, I have a pretty sizable infotainment screen. This still looks very modern, even here in 2023. I think it still looks good and is on par with cars that you would buy today. I don't get Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, unfortunately. This is Chevy's a little bit dated system at this point. They've moved on since 2017, and so I don't get that stuff, but I do have Bluetooth, navigation, and all of those nice features. And here's what the backup camera looks like. Then I do have a bunch of buttons for that radio, so not only is it touchscreen, but I do get physical buttons if I would like to use those. Really, really nice. And off to the left and right, I actually have heated and ventilated seats for the front 2 occupants. Love that, especially on this cold winter day. I am loving the heated seats here in the SS. Moving down the center stack, we have the hazard switch and the climate controls. I do get dual zone climate, and this uses Chevy's newer style knobs that show the temperature on them in this little digital display. I really, really love the look of that. And overall, it does everything that I'd want it to do. I also have a 12-volt outlet and a little cubby down below. And then we have the shifter itself. The shifter actually looks a lot nicer than I would have thought. Chevy's kind of known to give you some pretty basic crummy shift knobs that are easily swapped out, but the stock stuff usually isn't great. This is the stock shift knob, and I actually do think it's great. And like I said, I enjoy the feel of the shifter as well. Then coming down to the center, we have a bunch of buttons. So off to the left is our power parking brake. This does not get a physical parking brake, unfortunately. Off to the right, I get the traction control, parking sensors, and parking assist button. Now, the parking assist button used to work. However, there was a recall with something in the steering, and a lot of the GM shops that did the recall never rehooked up the steering assist. So that unfortunately doesn't work, and I'm only telling you that because if you plan to buy either this car or an SS like it and the parking assist doesn't work, that was because of a recall, just so you're aware. In the center, we get the drive mode select. Like I said, we have sport, tour, and performance, all really, really nice modes. Then we do get cup holders. So we will do a big friggin' bottle test, and unfortunately, it's just a little too tight. Then we do get a little center console and the seats. The seats are really, really nice. They have this sort of microfiber inserts that I really like. They say SS on them. They're decently sporty. However, they're not too sporty where I don't fit, and that is definitely nice to see. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats. So let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the Chevy SS in manual, and of course the back seats are really, really nice. Not only spatially, headroom is good, knee room is great, but also just the leather with the nice added accents really, really makes the back seat feel very nice. And this is probably the biggest benefit of finding one of these over a Camaro. Camaro back seats are absolutely pitiful, and rightfully so. It's a muscle car, whatever. But this you can actually live with. I could sit back here on a road trip and it would be nice. It would be pleasurable. I would enjoy my experience. And you have 415 horsepower up front. I mean, it's a pretty killer combo if you ask me. I do get a little center console that folds down, just a big foam brick. I get vents back here, which a lot of sedans skip out on, so it's really nice to see that. But other than that, nothing to write home about. Let's hop out, we'll take a quick look at the trunk, and then we'll talk about the looks. I pop the trunk from inside, that's why it's up like that, so you just pull it up the rest of the way, and of course you get plenty of space. One of the cornerstones of American sedans, I know this is designed in Australia, whatever, don't come after me, but big V8 sedans I expect to have a very nice big size trunk, and it is just that. Now, I'll talk about it a little bit later on, but the owner who owns this car, Nikesh, actually takes this all over the country. He drove it out to the East Coast. He drove it up to Michigan with us not too long ago. So he has traveled, fit all of his luggage in there for weeks and weeks and weeks, and has never had an issue, which is really, really nice to see. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I really, really like the look of the SS, although I think it was part of its downfall. Reason being is the fact that it kind of looks like a Malibu to the untrained eye. If you had no idea about cars and you didn't know what this car was and you saw this in traffic, you would think it's a big Malibu or bigger Impala. Well, it's not. It's actually something very special. So I think although it looks good, it actually sort of hurt the sales of this car. But one thing I do want to talk about is the fact that this is finished in Regal Peacock Green Metallic. Two reasons for that. First of all, Regal Peacock was my nickname in high school, but also only 283 Chevy SS's came in Regal Peacock, and only 126 of them came with the manual transmission. So this is a 1 of 126 vehicle in this color combination with this transmission, and I think that's pretty doggone special. I love the way this looks. I love the fact that it's not white or black or gray or silver. Even the red on these cars I think is a little bit played out. I love the orange that they have. I love like the lime green, but Peacock is just such a classy, cool color. I'm a big, big fan of it. But with all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving a Chevy SS with the manual transmission? Well, I think it's an absolute treat. This car is so flippin' good. It makes definitely a healthy amount of power. I really don't feel like it needs more power for a daily driven vehicle. Now, of course, people build drag cars out of these and whatnot, but for a car that you want to do everything, this kind of has that nailed. 415 horsepower is great. The roomy, comfy back seats, fantastic. It looks great, it's presentable, it has heated and ventilated seats. It has modern enough infotainment to get by with today's smartphones. It sort of checks all of the boxes when it needs to check the boxes. And that to me is really, really special. And the last comparison I want to draw in this video is to the owner of this car, Nikesh, who's currently working on selling it if you want to purchase it. Nikesh and I have known each other for a couple of years at this point, and I don't get to see him often. But when I do see him, I know it's always going to be a good time. Some of my best memories were when Nikesh is there. We've gone on several road trips with this Chevy SS, and it's been fantastic. And that's how I feel about this car. I don't see SS's all that much, let alone with the manual transmission, and I don't think I've ever seen one in the Regal Peacock Green. But yet, here it is. And I'm having fun. I don't see them much, but it's always a good time. Much like this car's owner, these cars are just a good time. They're such quality machines, and it's such a shame that you can't get them anymore, because I've reviewed a CT4V and a CT6V. You could still get powerful sedans from GM that do everything you want, but those cars start in the $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 range. Back in the day, you could pick this up for $48,000, so let's say $50,000. That's quite the discount over today's stuff. This was a muscle sedan for the people, and it's something that is not currently available in today's market. So enjoy. You might never see another Regal Peacock Chevy SS. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Nikesh for letting me take out his SS. We have been trying to make this review happen for over a year and a half at this point, and I'm so thankful that we were able to. Nikesh, I love you, buddy. Thank you, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. But don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.